We invite public guests who've registered to speak to do so. Our public participation process is designed to balance the desire to hear from the public with the need to keep meetings at a reasonable length. Those of you who registered to provide a presentation will have 4 minutes to speak, followed by commissioners having an opportunity to ask brief clarifying questions. Those who register to ask a question will have 2 minutes to speak, followed by a member of Commissioner Calgary Police Service having 2 minutes to respond. Please keep your comments to the topic you provided when you registered. We also cannot discuss a complaint about any specific employee or interaction with the police. If you would like to discuss a complaint against an officer or other employee, please contact our public complaint director or the Calgary Police Service Professional Standards section so it can be properly addressed. I would also like to thank everyone that took time to send us written submissions prior to this meeting. They've been provided to everyone on the commission, and we appreciate your insights. Finally, a reminder to members of the media that we will hear from the public first, and then we'll hold a media availability for you. So if I can ask our Director of Communications and Policy to put through the first speaker, please.
Thank you, Chair. We have one speaker for today, and that is Elder Doreen Healy from the Calgary Alliance for the Common Good. She has a question related to capacity around Indigenous awareness. Just in case she gets cut off, we also have Jocelyn Keith-Asante, who's able to step in if we have a connection problem. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you for letting me say my piece. The Calgary Alliance for the Common Good is still asking for more Indigenous liaison officers to be hired by the Calgary Police Service and be part of their Indigenous Relations Office, because it has proven difficult in general to hire Indigenous police officers and therefore Indigenous liaison officers. The Alliance appreciates being able to speak with the Calgary Police Service recruitment team. We met on January 11th, 2023, had a good discussion, and we will continue to meet. There are a number of changes that the recruitment team has made to facilitate hiring from the Indigenous community, which includes a temporary exemption of the Alberta Communications Test and going to various communities and sharing with prospective recruits different ways to approach the Alberta Police Cognitive Abilities Test. The Calgary Police Service has decided to hire 8 civilian community mobilizers. While these are not a replacement for Indigenous liaison officers, we hope that some of them will in the future train to be sworn officers and become Indigenous liaison officers. With this in mind, at the Alliance Assembly last fall, the Calgary Police Service agreed with us that 4 of the 8 community mobilizers would be Indigenous. However, we have reviewed the job postings for these community mobilizers and note there was no particular mention made of applicants to be Indigenous in the job posting. The closest mention of these concerns was upholding the values of reconciliation. It seems likely that to fill half of the diversity requirement from a historically hostile relationship, a more specific recruitment would be useful and necessary. Also, the frequent use of public safety terms in the job posting is reminiscent of the colonial-based trope of protecting the settlers from the Indigenous people. Clearly, work still needs to be done to decolonize job postings. The Commission has some expertise in anti-racism, which is very good. However, rather than 1 Indigenous commissioner, why are there not 2 or 3 voices to speak up for the Indigenous peoples in Calgary? Anti-racism is an entry into truth and reconciliation. The two are not the same. when immigrants come to Canada, they are taught the same negative stereotypes about Indigenous peoples held by all Canadians. Immigrants are settlers and have been protected from Indigenous peoples by police since the beginning of Canada, exactly the same as the first European settlers. I have two questions. When will the commission, number one, learn about decolonization so they can better oversee the police as the police work to decolonize themselves? This can be done by commissioners. Two, participating in mandatory ongoing Indigenous awareness training. Thank you for hearing our concerns in this public space so Calgary as a whole can learn about the work we are all trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Healy, for your comments and for your questions. And I appreciate your taking the time to present at the meeting today. I can respond to the commission and I'll open it to other commissioners if they want to make a brief comment, and then also to the service for your second question. The commission has undertaken Indigenous awareness, anti-racism training and education over the last 2 years at least. There may have been more training prior to that, but there have been a number of both in-person sessions we've done. We certainly listen to Commissioner North Pagan, who brings us comments and awareness when we need it during our meetings and our committee meetings. There's the online training that's available both to the service that the commission members have undertaken to also take part in. So there are a number of ways that we are working on awareness and education for ourselves around Indigenous and colonialization. So there's more to be done always, but that work has been started. I think Commissioner North Pagan would also like to comment on this, and so I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you, Chair. And Doreen, thank you for bringing your comments to this table. And one thing that I'm going to acknowledge is that, yes, being the only Indigenous person that sits on this commission is quite a heavy load to carry, especially for the systems that need to be changed going forward. And when I first got here, there was very little movement towards that change to begin with, and that was only in 2017. So we have a long process to go when it comes to the Calgary Police Commission and Calgary Police Service. And what we need from voices such as yours is to continue that advocacy and to continue to hold us accountable for those gaps that we need to fill as we move forward. I'm going to sit here with that heavy load, as hard as it is some days, and to keep moving forward, because I know we hand this world over better than what was handed over to me. So I really appreciate you bringing those comments to this table and to remind us that we need to keep that truth and reconciliation on this path as we continue forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner North Pagan. Would the service like to respond to the second question?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your comments and ongoing support. As I have shared in the past, we're very fortunate to have a very good relationship with the Common Alliance and meet with them regularly, although it has been a few months since we last met. I believe that there's a meeting scheduled in the next 2 or 3 weeks to discuss exactly as the comments that have come forward here today, and that's with respect to seeking and attracting additional Indigenous members for our advisors. And we acknowledge and recognize that that posting, in fact, did need to have some changes to it, hence the meeting that we have scheduled with the Alliance to go over that. And we will be looking to repost specifically to focus and attract our Indigenous community members to join us with respect to the vision that we have for the ambassadors. So thank you again. As I said, we're very fortunate to have a great relationship. It's great to hear that the meeting went very well with our CCLC folks and our training folks, where Deputy Gale's folks were able to share exactly as you heard here today. We've been able to make many, many changes, and we're hopeful that we will get more applicants going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was the only public presentation for today. So thank you again for taking the time and providing the reminder and the focus on the Indigenous place in our work.